Alright, we are done with the material. Now we can work on our UI. The UI in Unreal are called Widget and works the same as a blueprint. So in our tutorial folder, let's create a new folder here. Let's call it UI. And then right click in here. And in the last one called User Interface, you have Widget Blueprint. Click on that one and name it. So I will call it Widget My Controls. Double click to open. And you open the widget editor. So the widget editor has two panels. One is the designer, is where you're gonna design the way everything looks, how many buttons, what color, this kind of thing, even animation. The graph is kind of a blueprint and take care of everything that's functionality for your widget. So let's first draw something. There is a lot of documentation on the Unreal Engine website about each of these nodes, so I will keep it simple for this. We are more interested in the functionality. So let's grab first a border, canvas. And now the little flower here is basically what's called an anchor. The anchor will decide that if the resolution change, which side should the widget be attached to. So in our case, we'll probably want the middle bottom. Move that here, make it a bit bigger. And for this demo, we're gonna have, for example, a small text on the top that tells us what this is, as well as then wall color, curtain color, and each of them two possibilities. So let's do something, for example, 500 long, and then 150, and then we can align it, minus 250, and then let's say minus 160 to have a bit of space, maybe 170. Let's give it a color. You'll want to change the color in appearance. The color in content, color in opacity will affect all these children. We're only interested in this one. Let's give it a dark gray. Now to be able to get the next thing, we'll want a few objects here that are in a vertical manner. And to do that, we just use something called a vertical box. Drag it on the border. Perfect. It's there. You don't see the difference yet, but this will allow us to put different nodes on top of each other while keeping them in a vertical manner. So what we need next, text. Drag it on the vertical box. You can see it here. And let's name that one controls. And let's put it in the center. Perfect. Now we'll want the similar way we use a vertical box, we'd need a horizontal box to have the title, wall color, as well as the two buttons. So let's take a horizontal box and drag it on the vertical box. So it goes under the control, it's there. From there we can put another text on the horizontal box this time. Let's make it a bit smaller. So if you go to fonts and size on the horizontal box, one button and two buttons. Now we'd want them to probably take most of the space that is left. So you can do that by selecting both of them and clicking on fill. Fill will basically stretch them to make sure that they take all the space equally. Perfect. Let's name this one walls. Perfect. Now what we can do is just right click on the horizontal box, copy, go back on the vertical box and paste. Now we have twice that. Let's go to a text here again. Let's call it curtains. Now it's a bit pushed, so let's add some space here to realign them. Perfect. And let's start naming our button. So you can see button 0. Press F2 to rename. Let's call it button wall color A. Button wall color B. Do the same for the curtain. Button curtains color A. Button curtains color B. Now for each of these buttons we're gonna need a little bit of text on top of it. So let's do that. Let's select the text and then drag the text on top of the button itself. You can see that the little orange outline change. Make sure you're on top of the button. Wow, that's a big text, so let's make it smaller. Perfect. Maybe 12. Let's call it color A. And again, let's copy that one, or Control C, go to the color B, Control V, and do the same for these two. Control V, Control V. Now let's rename the two B button to color B. And they're a bit tied to each other, so let's put a bit of space. You can do that by selecting any of the UI elements and go to padding and add a bit of padding in there. That will push to give a bit of space. So let's say 5 here or 10, and then select the horizontal box and do the same here, 10, so we have a bit of space. Compile and save. Now we get our widget. So the next step, we're gonna have to put functionality, but before that, if you were to play the game, you would see that the UI is not there. So we're gonna have to add this UI, and that's what we're gonna do next.